Welcome to this lecture, and in this lecture we are going to be learn about the syntax of this Java programming language. The syntax of the Java programming language is a set of rules defining how a Java program is written and interpreted. The syntax is mostly derived from C and C++ language. Unlike C++ in Java, there are no global functions or variables, but there are the data members which are also regarded as a global variables. Now we can see how to write our hello world program on Java Eclipse IDE. So first of all, we will first create a program that's print the hello world in our editor or a IDE. Create a new file and save it as a name of hello world.java program. So now here you can see create a hello world application. So I just click on that. Here I just create a new file and then I just click on the class. It's need a class, right? Hello.java, and then here I just give it the source of the folder. And so before creating the class in Java, we just need to create the project. So here I just write Java project and the name of the project is our Java course. And I just finish this project here. So you can see our project file is created here. Now I just click on the file, new, and then class. Now here I just write hello.java. So you can see our source file is already added here, which is a Java course and source. So I just click on finish. Our first step is completed here. Now here we can declare our class in our main method. Our main method is public static void main and string, and then we pass the arguments. So here I just write public and then I just write static void and then main method. This will be executed when the program is running. This method will have the same method declaring every Java program. So here I just pass a string. So S is a capital here and then arguments. Our this program is this line of codes mean our second step is complete here. Then we just open our function body. Now there is a no arguments with this bracket, and here we just go to the third step of our first Java program. In our third step, we can write the line of code that will print the hello world. Here we just need to know system dot out dot print, and print is line. So this is our print line here, and then here I just write hello world. So I just close with semicolon. It look at the component of this line. System tell us the system to do something, and out tell the system that we are going to do some output stuff. Now we come to the print line. Print line stand for print line. We are telling the system to print a line in the output, and the parenthesis around this hello world means that method system.out.println take in a parameter, which in this case is the string hello world. Note that there are some rules in Java that we have to add here. You must always add a semicolon at the end of every line, like this one. This is a semicolon. Java is a case sensitive language. You must write method names like variables name and the class name in the correct case, or you will get an error. Like here you can see I just gave the example like system. System S is in capital here. So I just write a small s, so it will give us the red line here. Means you can write the capital S with the system. So this is mean that Java is a case sensitive language. So you can must write the variable's name and the class's name in the correct case. Block of code is specific to a certain method or a loop are encased between curly brackets. Now we just go to the fourth step where we can put it all together. Mean put this Java files or put this Java all work all together. Your final hello world program should look like this one. It's public class hello and then public static void main which is a string and the arguments. And then we just go to the system.out.println which will print the hello world program. Now save our file and open it to the IDE. So here I just click on the run. Here you can see the output in our console which is hello and world. Now we can print our hello world program with one another method which is the input and the output method. We will now exceed our hello world programs to take input from the user. In our hello world program we print out a string for the user to see, but the interactive part of the program is when the user gets to enter the input into the program. We will now extend our program to prompt the user for his or her name and then greet the user by his or her name. Now we just create one another class. So this is our new example of that why I just create the class. So hello.to and Java. So I just opened one another new class. So here we just work with our scanner class. In Java we have some built-in libraries that we have access to, but we have to import them. One of these libraries in Java is java.util, which contain the scanner objects that we need to get user input. In order to import a scanner class, we add the following lines or to beginning of our code. First of all, here I just import Java and then Java is util. This is the library of java.util, but we just need to know our scanner class. So this is java.util.scanner. This tell us our program that we want to use the scanner object which exists in the package which is java.util. If we want to have access to every object in the java.util package, we simply write import like this one, import java.util. This will access to the every object in the java.util package. Inside our main method, initiate a new instance of the scanner object. Java is an object-oriented programming language, so it represent concept using the objects. The scanner object is an example of our objects that has fields and methods. In order to use the scanner class, we have to create a new scanner object that we can populate the fields of and use the method. So here in the main body, I just write scanner and scanner is the user. So user, we just take the user input and then, so it's an input and then I just write scanner and which is equal to new and then scanner. Now here I just write system dot in and then close this code here. So our user input scanner is the name of the scanner object that we just initiated. Note that the name is written in camel case. This is a convention of naming variable in Java. We use the new operator to create the new instance of the object. So in this instance, we create a new instance to the scanner object by writing the new scanner which is system.in. And the system scanner objects take in the parameters that tell the object what to scan. In this case, we put in system.in as a parameter which is system.in. So system.in tell the program to scan the input from the system, which is the input that the user will type into the program. So now we just go to the fourth step of this program, which is prompt the user of an input. So we have to prompt the user for an input so that the user know when to type something into the console. This can be accomplished with a system.out.print. So now here we just write, sorry, I just write system dot out, and then here I just write print. So what we print here, so I just write what is your name. So I just close this code here, and then now after that we just ask the scanner object to take in the next line that the user type in a store that in a variable. Now here I just write string and then user, which is input, and name, which is equal to user input, and then here I just write scanner dot next and line. In Java, the convention of using an object method is object name dot method name. So this is our object name and this is our method name, and then we just pass the parameter. In user input scanner dot next line, we are calling our scanner object by the name we just gave it, and then we are calling it, which is method next line, which does not take any parameters. Note that we are storing the next line in another object. The string object we have named our string object, which is user input and name. Now we just go to the next step, which is the print out a greeting to the user. Now that we have the user name stored, we can print out a greeting to the user. Remember the system.out print line, which is hello world, that we wrote in the main class. All of the code that we just wrote should go about that line. Now we can modify that line to say system.out.println, which is hello plus user input name plus. So now here I just write system, and then here I just write out. So it's a system dot out, and then I just write print line, and print line here is hello, and then we just concatenate plus user and input name. Then I just write plus and then place not sign and close this code here. Now the way we chant up hello, the username and not sign by writing the hello plus user input name is a string concatenation. What happened here is that we have three string like hello and then user input and not sign. String in Java are immutable, which means that they cannot be changed. So when we concatenating these three strings, we are initially create a new string that contains the greetings. Then we take this new string and feed it a parameter to system.out.println. So now our this program, which is Java util library, is completed here. So now we just simply add main method, which is public, and then it's in static, and void main, and this is a string, and then I just write arguments. Okay, so I just write the parameters here and then copy this all program and paste it here. So I just remove this one, and now it's in time to execute our this program. So I just click on this run file, so run hello 2. So when I just click on this run hello 2, so I just it's need a what is your name. So I just write my name is Fayaz. So it will print us hello and Fayaz because we just concatenate here, which is hello plus user input name. So our user input name is our this input. What we gave the input, which is the Fayaz, and then it's print us hello and Fayaz and then not sign. So thanks for watching this lecture. See you in next lecture. Thank you.
Welcome to this lecture. And in this lecture, we are going to be discussed about the variables and its type in the Java. A variable is a container that holds the values that are used in the Java program. Every variable must be declared to use a data type. For example, a variable could be declared to use one of the 8 parameter data types like byte, short, int, long, float, double, character, or boolean. Each variable in Java has a specific type which determines the size and the layout of the variable's memory. The range of the values that can be stored within that memory and the set of operations that can be applied to the variable. You must declare all variables before they can be used. These are the some types of the variable like static variable, instance variable, method local and method parameters, block variables. So now we just come to the example of this variable. So here in the program body, I just write static and then I just define the integer. So integer is static and static is variable here. So variable value is 1. Now I just write the integer and then here I just write instance variable. So this is our instance variable and the instance variable which is equal to the value of 2. Now I just write public and then void method name, and this is our method name, and here the parameters are int and method. Now here I just write parameters and then I just start my program body. Now here I just define one integer which is the method, and our method here is local. So local is a variable here and the value of this variable is 3. Now I just define my if statement. So here I just write if and the value is true. So here the int block variable. So this is our fourth type of variable, which is the block variable. Now you can see here, first of all, I just define the static variable, which is a value of 1. Then I just give the integer value to my instance variable. This is the second type of the variable. Then I just define the method name, which is the fourth type of variable. So here I just define the public void method name and then the parameters. And then I just define the method local variable and the fourth name number I just define the block variable. Now I define what is a static variable. These variables are declared at the top level. You can see these are declared at the top level. They begins their life when first class loaded into memory and ends with the class is unloaded. as it remains the memory till class exists. So these variables often called class variable. These variables are having highest scope, that is, they can be accessed from any method block in the class. When no explicit assignment made while declaration, they are initialized to default value depending on their types. Now we just see the definition of the instance variable. These are also declared as a top level variable. They begin their life when object or an instance of the class created and ends with the object is destroyed. So this variable R ends when the object is destroyed. Each copy of these variables belong to an object, same as a static ones. They initialize to the default value depending on their types. They are having less scope as compared. They are assist only within the instance method of blocks. Now we just see the example of this definition of this method local variables or a method parameters. Method local variables are declared anywhere inside the method. Their life is started point they declare and initialized and end with the method completes. These variables are not assigned any default value as case of static and instance variable. Therefore, they must be initialized with when declared or later but before assessing using in a expressions, otherwise compiler will complain. Now we just go to the another example of this Java variables. Now here I already create one another class with the name of the variable one. So here our this example, here we add the two numbers. So now I just write public static and void main. Now here I just write string and then arguments. Now it's a string is a capital here. So now here I just define the integer. So integer a is equal to 10. Then integer b which is equal to 10. Then I just write int c which is equal to a plus b. And then I just write system dot, so it's system dot out and then print line. So print line we just print c and close our code here. So I just save this code and execute our program. So run as a variable 2. So our answer on the terminal end is 20 here. Now we just go to the another example. So here I just click on default new and create a new class. So here I just write variable and variable is 2.java. So I just finish this one. So now in this example we just vending our variable. So here I just write public and then static void, and void is a main here. Now I just write string and then I just write arguments and then execute our block of code. So it says static here. Now I just write int a is equal to 10 and then I just write float value. So float which is equal to a. Now I just write system dot out dot print line and then I just want to print which is a, and then I just write system and system dot out and then here I just write print line and then float value. Now I just execute this. So we have the two answers here. which is one with the system.out.println, which is 10. And then we have the float value. What we give the answer is 10.1. Now we just go to the another example of this variable. So here I just create one another class, which is variable and variable3 dot java. So here this example is for type casting. So now here I just write public and static void main and then a string and arguments. Now I just write float and float f is equal to 10.5 f, and then so it's a float, and now I just write int a, which is equal to integer, and then I just write f. So int a is equal to f is a compiler time error. When we just compile this, so it is our compile time error. Now I just write system dot out, and then here I just write print line, which is f, and then I just write system dot out dot print line, and here I just write a. I just save this code and execute it. So we have the two answers here. First one is in float value, which is 10.5, and then the value is 10. Now we just go to the another example of this variable. So variable 4 dot java. Now here I just write public static void, and the void is main, and then here I just write a string and arguments. So this example is variable overflow. So now here we just overflow our variable. So integer a, which is equal to 130, and then here I just write byte value. So byte b, which is equal to byte, and then I just overflow my value of a. Now here I just write system dot out dot print line, and which is a. Now I just write system dot out and then print line, which is b. So b is a variable of byte. So now we just execute it and see how it's overflow. So you can see on the terminal end the value of two variables are, one is 130 and one is minus 126. Now we just see the last example of our variable. So here I just write variable 5 dot java. Yes, I just create a new class, and this example is to adding the lower type in the variable. Now here I just write public and static void main, and then here I just write a string and then arguments. Now I just write byte, and byte a is equal to 10, then byte b, which is equal to 10. So here I just write byte, which is equal to c, so c, which is equal to byte, and then I just write a plus b. So byte c, which is equal to a plus b, is compiled that it is the compile time error, because a plus b, which is equal to 20, will be a integer. So now I just write system dot out dot print line, and here I just write C, and now I just execute this program. So we have the expected output, which is 20, because it is the compile time error, because a plus b will be the expected output is 20 because it is the integer. So these are the some example and the types of variables in the Java. Thanks for watching this lecture. See you in next lecture.
Welcome back to this lecture, guys. In this lecture is our second lecture on the variables. So I had already discussed a variable is a name which is associated with a value that can be changed. For example, when I write integer I which is equal to 10, here variable name is I, which is associated with the value of 10. Int is a data type that represents that this variable can hold integers values. We will cover the data types in the next tutorial. So in this lecture, we will discuss only about the variables. So first of all, how to declare a variable in Java. So first you can define the data type and then the variable and name. So then you can define the value of the it. Here the value is optional because in Java you can declare the variable first and then later assign the value to it. For example, here the number is a value variable and int is a data type. We will discuss the data type in the next lecture, so do not worry too much about it. Just understand that int data types allow this number variable to hold the integer value. So now we just go to the example of this variables. So here you can see we have the character which is a ch. So this is our variable and then we have the character value which is a. Integer which is our data type what we have like an int or a character and then we have the variable name which is number and number which is equal to 10. So variables naming conventions in the Java. Variables naming cannot contain the white spaces. For example, int number is beer which is equal to 100 is an invalid because the variable name is spaced in it. So you can see int number and beer which is equal to 100. So it will give us the error here. Variable name can be with a special character such as dollar and underscore. So you can write variable dollar which is equal to 10. So variable name can begin with special characters. As per the Java coding standard, the variable name should begins a lowercase letter, for example, integer number, like this one. For lengthy variables name that has more than one values, do it like this integer and you can see a small number. It So now we can see the in big number which is start the second word with a capital letter. Like here I just write big and then here I just write number. So it is start with the second word with the capital letter. Variables name are the case sensitive in Java. Remember that variables name are case sensitive. Like you can define the variable here big and then when you create a class or you can create an object and you can recall your variable name. So I just write big and then here I just write number, so it will give us the error because we have not valid name here. So it's a case sensitive language. Now we just go to the types of the variables. The types of the different variables in the Java. So there are three types of variables in the Java. First one is a local variable, then second one is a static or a class variable, and then the last one is an instance variable. So first we just discuss the static variable. A static variable is common to all the instance or object. of the class because it is the class level variable. In other words, you can say that only a single copy of a static variable is created and shared among all the instances of the class. Memory allocated for such variables only happens when the class is loaded in the memory. Now we just see the syntax of these static variables. So here we have static, and the static is the name or a keyword here, and then here I just write the data type, then the variable and the variable name. So this is the simple syntax of this static variable. As I mentioned about, the static variables are shared among all the instances of the class. They are useful when we need to do memory management. In some cases, we want to have a common value of all the instances, like global variables. Then it is much better to declare them static, as this can save memory because only single copy is created for static variables. Now we just see the example of this static variable. So here I just remove this, and now I just write static, and static int is count, which is equal to 0. Now I just write public, and public is a void and increment. So now it is public void increment, and then I just write count plus plus. Now I just close with the semicolon here, and then here I just define public, static, and void main. So void main is a string, and a string here, and then I just write argument. Now I just write variable, and it's a variable here, and variable which is demo, and then here I just write object number 1. So I just create an object which is a value of 1, and then here I just write new, and new is a keyword here, and then I just write variable demo. So here I just write capital V. So variable is demo here. Now I just write variable which is demo, and then object number 2 here, and which is equal to new and variable demo, and then close this code here. Now I just create an object to it. So here I just write obj1 dot, I just call my increment function here, and it's increment, and then I just write object 1, so it's object 2 dot increment, and then I just print the value system dot out dot print line, and which is object 1, which is the count, and its count is equal to concatenation of object 1 dot count. Now I just write an object here. Now I just write system dot out dot print line, and here I just write object 2, and object 2 is count here, and count which is equal to plus object 2 dot count. So I just leave an error here because you can see we are just working with the static variables which work on the class. So we have the class name here is variable data type 2. So I just copy this one and replace with this one because we have the upper class with the variable and its data type 2 is our class name. But I write the variable demo here. So it will give us the error here. So that's why I'm just changing my this name. So remember that this is a Java programming language and it is a case sensitive language. Now we just see the output. So you can see we have the object 1 which is a count 2 and the object 2 is also a count 2 because in this example with both the objects are sharing a same copy of the static variable. That's why they display the same value of count. Now we just see the instance variable in the Java. Instance variable used by object to store their states. Variables which are defined without the static keyword and are outside any method declaration are object specific and are known as instance variable. They are called so because their values are instance specific and not shared amongst the instance. So now we just come to the example of this instance variable. So here I just write a string which is my instance. Okay, and instance is variable here which is equal to instance and variable. Now I just close this code here and then I just write public static void main and then string arguments and here I just write my code. So now so I just remove this curly bracket and now here I just write instance and now I just write the variable data type 3 which is my class name and then object which is equal to new variable data type 3 and close this code here. Now I just create one another object which is the object number 2. So this is the object here and then I just write new which is our variable data type 3 and then close this code here and then I just write object number 3 which is equal to new data type 3 and close this code here. Now I just write system.out.println and which is object number 1 which is my instance variable and then so it's need an extension so I just close this one and then I just write system.out.println and println is object number 2 dot my instance variable and then system dot out dot println and then I just write object 3 dot my instance variable. Now I just write object number 2 dot my instance variable which is equal to changed text. Okay, and then I just write system dot out dot println which is object dot my instance variable and then system dot out dot println which is object number 2 dot my instance variable. Then at the last I just write system dot out dot println and here the print line, which is equal to object3 dot my instance variable. So you can also use the print for it. So now we just check the output for this example. So you can see first one is the instance variable, then the instance variable and the instance variable. Three times, then instance variable. So change the text here and then the instance variable. So we change the instance variable value using the object 2 in the following program. And when we display the variable using all three objects, only the object 2 value got changed. Other remains unchanged. This shows that they have their own copy of instance variable. So we have some rules for the instance variable. First one, they can be marked final. They can be marked transient. They cannot be marked abstract. And they cannot be marked synchronized. They cannot be marked strict FP. And they cannot be marked native. And at the last, they cannot be marked static. So now we just go to the local variables. These variables are declared inside the method of the class. Their scopes is limited to the method, which means that you cannot change their value and access them outside the method. Now we just see the example of this local variable. So here I just write public, and public is a string variable. So I just write my variable, which is equal to, I just write instance variable here. Now I just write public method, and here the public void my method. And then I just define the local variable. So string, which is my variable, which is equal to inside method, and then I just write system and system dot out dot print, and the print line is my variable. So this is our local variable. Now we just going to create an object. So here I just write public static void and main, and here I just write string and arguments. So now I just write, now we just create an object. So variable, so I just copy this class name. So variable data type 4, which is the obj, which is equal to new. So this is the class name, and then the object, which is equal to new, and the variable, sorry, class name. So we are calling the method that's changed the value for my variable. We are displaying my variable again after the method call to demonstrate that the local variable scope is limited to the method itself. Now you can see system dot out dot print line, and then here I just write calling method, and then here I just create object, and it's in double quotation here, and then object dot my method, and then system dot out dot print line, which is object dot my variable. So I have declared in this example the instance variable with the same name as a local variable. This is to demonstrate the scope of the local variable. So now just check the output of this example. So you can see calling a method inside the method. So first of all, I just call the method name inside the method. You can see here, and then it's print the instance variable. So you can see the calling method like this one. It's an object here, and then it's print the local variable, and then it's print the instance variable. So this is an example of the Java static instance variable and local variable. Thanks for watching this lecture. See you in next lecture. Welcome to this lecture, and in this lecture we are going to be discussed about the data types in Java programming language. A data type in programming is a classification that specifies which type of value a variable has and what type of mathematical relation or a logical operation can be applied to it without causing an error. A string, for example, is a data type that is used to classify the text, and in integers is a data type used to classify the whole number in the string. So there are the two types of data type. First one is parameter data type, and the second one is non-parameter data type. Here you can see the data and the type. First one is parameter and the second one is non-parameter. In the parameter data types, we have the two more types, which are numeric and the boolean. And the numeric have two more data types, which are the characters and integer. When we turn to the integer, so we have the two more parts of the integer. One is a integer and another is a floating point. So in integer we have the byte, short, int, and long. And then in the float side we have the float and the double variable. So in our this course we work with the boolean, characters, byte, short, integer, long, float, and the double. If we go to the second type of the parameter, non-parameter data types. Non-parameter or reference data types are the more sophisticated members of the data types family. We have a string, an array, and more data types in our non-parameter data types. So now we just come to the example of these parameters and the non-parameters data type. So here you can see the data types and default value and the default size of it. So first one is a boolean data type. So boolean data types always is the value of the true or a false value, and it contains the 1 byte size. And the character, it's a default value of any of the character like name or any other string, and it's take the 2 byte. Now we just come to the byte. The value of the byte is 0 and the default size of it is 1 byte. Now we come to the short. Short is a default value of 0 and it is a default size of 2. Now we come to the integer. Integer is always 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and up to so on. So it is default size of 4 byte. Then we come to the long value. So the long default value is 0 length and the default size of it is 8 byte. Then we come to the float value, which we always give the answer in point, which is the default size of 8 byte. And at the last we just take the double and it is a default size of 8 byte. Now we come to the example of byte. This can hold the numbers between minus to plus. It is mostly used to save the memory. And when you are certain that the number would be in the limit specified by byte data types. Now we just see the example of this byte data type. So here I just write public, and public is a static void main. And then here I just write string and arguments. Now here I just write byte, which is equal to num. So num is a variable here, and num which is equal to 1 to 3. And then I just write system dot out dot print line, which is num. So I just save this code and check the output for it. So you can see we have the answer in 1 to 3. So now we just go to the short value. So short is the greater than byte in term of size and less than integer. Its range is minus 32 and 768 to 32 767. So it is a default size of 2 byte. Now we just see the example of short. So short, which is num is equal to 45678. And now we just see the right example. So here I just write public and static void main, and then string and arguments. And now I just cancel this, and here I just write short and then number as a variable. So here number, which is equal to 28569, and then I just write system.out.print line, which is number. So I just save this and execute it. So you can see 28569 is our short value. So the byte data type could not hold the value 150 or 28569 what I gave it here, but a short data type can because it has a vendor range. Now we just go to the long value. So I just create the long data type here, and now long, when integer is not large enough to hold the value, so long have the wider range than integer data type. So it's ranging from -9223, 372, and up to so on. It's a longer value to 9223. So I just gave it the example, any example here. So it is a size of 8 byte and the default value of it is 0. So I just write public static void main, and then here I just write string, and string is an arguments here, and then I just write long, and long is a number which is minus 1 2 3 5 6 7 8 9 10, and this is a long number, and I just write L with that number. So here I just write system dot out dot print line, which is number. I just save this code and execute it, so you can see this value is printed here, which is a long value. So now we just come to the double. So double is a scientific for holding 15 decimal digits. So it has a size of 8 byte, and now we just see the example of this double. So public is static void, and then I just write the main here, and then I just write string and the arguments. Now I just write double and then number which is equal to minus 4236598 dot 9, and I just write D here. So when we see the float value double, so it's a 15 decimal digits. It's contain the 15 decimal digits here. So now I just write system dot out dot print line, and the print line is number here. So now I just save this code and execute it. So it is give us the value of the double data type. Now we just come to the float value. So scientifically, for holding 6 to 9 decimal numbers, means float scientifically hold 66 to 7 decimal numbers, and it's contain the 4 byte size. Now we just see the example of it. So public void main, so public static void main here, so public static void main, and then a string and arguments here, and then I just write float. Float is a number here, a number which is equal to 19.98 f. So I just write f for float. So system dot out dot print line, and then I just write number here. Now I just check the output for it. So it is 19.98. What is the value of the number here? Now booleans hold either the true value or a false value. Now I just see the example of the boolean. So here I just write public static void main, and then a string and arguments. Now here I just write boolean, which is b is equal to false. So it is false here, and I just close this with semicolon, and then I just write system out dot print, and the print is b, means the variable of the boolean. So you can see the value of this is false here. Now we just come to the character data types. So characters always hold the characters, means the name or any of other thing. So it has the size of 2 bytes. So now we just see the output for it. Public, static, and void main. And here I just write a string and then the arguments. Now I just write character ch, which is equal to z, and then I just write system dot out dot print line, which is ch. So I just remove this character and add my name, which is Fayaz, and here I just run this program. So you can see the expectations in the thread main java.lang.error, because I just gave it the space here. You can see, and you can see character is a only one character like f. If I use the string here, you can see string, which is s is equal to Fayaz. Okay, so it will not give us the error because we have using the string here. So I am using character, so I just write only f here. So I just check the output, so you can see it print f. So these are the some data types and its value in Java. Thanks for watching this lecture. See you in next. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to be discussed about the operators in Java programming language. Operators are special symbols that perform the specific operations on one, two, or three operand and then return a result. As we explore the operators of the Java programming language, it may be helpful for you to know ahead of the time which operators have the highest precedence. There are many types of operators in Java, which are unary operators, arithmetic operators, shift operator, relation operator, and bitwise operator, logical operator, ternary operator, and assignment operator. What are the bitwise operators in Java? The bitwise operators in Java defines several bitwise operators, which can be applied to integer types long, int, short, character, and byte. Binary AND operator. Copy a bit to the result if it exists in the both operands. Binary OR operator copies a bit if it exists in either operand. Means we have the two binary AND operator and the binary OR operator. Now we just see the example of the arithmetic operator. So we have the arithmetic operator. So it's operate plus, minus, multiplication, division, and the modulus. So suppose that we have the value a which is 10 and b which is equal to 10. So what will be the expected output? So we have the expected output of it is 20. So same like this minus, multiplication, division, and the modulus. Now we just see the example of this arithmetic operator. So here I just write public void. So public static void main and public static void main, which is a string, and the string here is arguments. Now I just write integer, which is num1, and num1 is equal to 100. Then I just write integer num2 means number 2, which is equal to 20. So I just write system dot out dot print line, and the print line here is num1 plus num2. So our result is plus, and here I just write number 1 plus number 2, and I just close this code here. So I just copy this code and then pasted 1, 2, 3. So we have negative value here, so I just change it to the negative. Then I just write multiplication sign and the division sign, and change it here multiplication sign and division sign here. So at the last I just write for the modulus. So here I just write modulus of and modulus of number 1 to number 2. Now we just check the output of it. So you can see okay, and then number 1 plus number 2, which is equal to 20, 120. Okay, and then number 1 minus number 2 is 280. So this is only 120, 80, and this is the 200 and 2000, and this is the value which is 5 and the 0 value. Now we go to the assignment operator. So that's why I just creating a class which is assignment operator dot java. So here in assignment operator we use is equal to, plus is equal to, minus is equal to, multiply is equal to divide and the modulus is equal to operators. So here we just see in the example, so public, static, and void main. So void main is a string here, and the string is the arguments, and here the arguments are, and then I just write the integer which is the number 1 and number 1 which is equal to 10, and int num2 which is equal to 20. Now I just write num2 which is equal to num1. So this is our assignment operator, and I just write system dot out dot print line, and which is equal to output. Okay, so output, and here I just write plus num2. So num is small here, and our close code is closed here. Now I just write, and I just copy this code and pasted 1 and 2 times, 3, 4 times. So here I just write plus is equal to, and then our system.out.println is plus is equal to. Now here I just write minus is equal to, and this is also the minus is equal to, and this is a concatenation of number 2. Now here I just write static for multiplication and the static for multiplication, and then I just write division and the division here. Now I just write for the modulus, so the percentage sign here and the percentage sign here. Now we just see the expected output. So you can see which is equal to the output 10. So this is a result of the positive, then the output 20, and then 10 which is the output of minus, and then the output of the static value which is 100, output of division which is 10, and the output of modulus which is 0. Do you know about the auto increment and the auto decrement operators? So here I just use num plus plus and num minus minus. So num plus plus here is our auto increment operator, and num minus minus is our auto decrement operator. So how increment operator works? If we have the num value 1, so after the auto increment operator, our num value will be 2, and if our num1 value is 2, so after the auto decrement operator, our expected auto decrement value is 1. Or if we have the num value 1 which is equal to 1, so our after auto decrement the value will be the minus 1. Now we just see the example of this auto increment and auto decrement operator. So now we just see public and static void main. So string arguments, and then start our code. Int number 1 which is equal to 100, and int number 2 which is equal to 200. So now I just define the auto increment operator here, and then the auto decrement operator here. So now here I just write system dot out dot print line, and the print line here is number 1 auto increment is, and then I just write plus sign and num1, and then system dot out dot print line, which is num2, and the decrement operator is, and here I just write plus num2. So now we just check the output. So our output is plus 4 means for increment it's 100 value, so it is 101. But for the decrement operator, 1 is less from 1 200, so it is 199. Now we just come to the logical operator. Logical operators are used with the binary variables. They are mainly used in conditional statement and the loops for evaluating a condition. Logical operators are AND, OR, and NOT. Now we just see the example of this logical operator. So it's a class, so I just write logical operator dot java. So here I just write public and static void main. Okay, and then I just write string arguments, and then I just write boolean. So boolean is a b1 which is equal to true, and boolean b2 which is equal to false. Okay, now here I just write, so its the value is true. So now after this false value, I just write system dot out dot print line, and the print line which is equal to b1, and b1 is an AND operator here, and it's a b2. So I just write plus sign, and then b1 and b2. Okay, now I just copy this. So this is our AND operator, and this is our OR operator, and here I just remove this and write the OR operator, and now I just write NOT operator. So I just write the AND for that one, but here I just write NOT, and then and here I just write after this one. So now I just arrange this one. So yes, now here I just write NOT operators, means NOT bracket b1 and AND operator, so b2. So now we just check the output. So our output for b1 and b2 is false. You can see b and operator here, means one is a true, so second one is also a true, so where value will be the true. If one is a false, so value will be the false here. And you can see OR operator, so OR value is true here. And NOT means b1 is not, b1 or b2 is not equal to, so its value is false here, so here it's a not, so its value is true here. So this is our logical operator. Now we just come to the compressions or a relation operator. So we have the six relational operator in Java, which is equal to, not equal to, greater than, and the less than, and the greater than equal to, and less than equal to. So is equal to returns true if the both left side and the right side are equal. Not equal to returns true if left side is not equal to right side of the operator. We just see the greater than, so greater than return true if left side is greater than right side, and less than return true if left side is less than right side, and greater than or equal to returns the true if left side is greater than or equal to right side, and less than or equal to returns true if left side is less than or equal to right side. Now I just see the example of this rational operator. So public is static void main and then string and arguments. Now, so it's an static here, a small word. So now I just write integer, which is the number 1, and number 1 which is equal to 10. And then I just write int num2 which is equal to 50. And then I just write use if statement. So if number 1 which is equal to means equal to operator which is equal to num2. So here I just write system dot out dot print line, and the print line here is num1 and num2 are equal. Okay, now I just copy this if statement here, and then I just write for else. So here I just write else and remove this statement, and then here I just write num1 and num2 are not equal. So now I just copy this and paste it 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, 4 time, and 5 time. So we have first this statement. So now we just write this statement for not equal to. So not equal to sign here. So here I just write num1 and the num2 are not equal. So here I just write it's not equal. And then I just write num2 are equal. Here I just remove and use the greater than sign. So after the greater than sign, so num1 is greater than num2, and then I just write num1 is not greater than num2, and then I just use the less than sign. So here I just write num1 is less than num2, and now I just write num1 is not less than num2. So after that I just write greater than or equal to. So num1 is greater than or equal to num2, and then I just write num1 is not greater than or equal to num2. Now I just use this for less than or equal to. So num1 is less than or equal to num2, and then num1 is not less than or equal to num2. So now we just check the output for it. So here you can see first one is num1 and the num2 are not equal because 10 and 50 are not equal. So num1 and the num2 are not equal. So you can see sum1 and num2 are not equal. So here I just write, so yes, it's not equal. So here it's a not sign, so that's why it's not equal here. Then num1 is not greater than num2, so its value is 10 and its value is 50, so it's not greater. So num1 is num less than num2, so its value is true here. So num1 is not greater than or equal to num2, so the value is true here. And at the last, num1 is less than or equal to num2, so the value is less than num2, so the value is true here. Now we just see the example of this bitwise operator. Java defines several bitwise operators which can be applied to the integer types long, int, short, character, and the byte. We have the different types of bitwise operator. First one is AND bitwise, then OR bitwise, then XOR bitwise, then complement bitwise operator, then left shift and the right shift bitwise, then zero fill and right shift operators. Now we just see the example of these all. So here I just write public static void main and then string and arguments. Now I just write int number 1 which is equal to 11 and then int num2 which is equal to 22. Then I just write result and result which is equal to 0. Now I write result which is equal to num1 and I just use AND bitwise operator, so num2. Here I just write system out dot println and then num1 and num2 and plus result. So I just concatenate my result here. So I just copy this result and then I just paste it here. So here I just use OR bitwise operator. Yes, OR bitwise operator. And then I just write for XOR bitwise operator. So XOR bitwise operator. And here I just also write OR operator and XOR bitwise operator. Now I just use for complement and this is also for complement and then for left shift. So this is for left shift and left shift. Then I use for right shift and I use this for right shift. And at the last, if you want to shift it, zero fill right shift. So you can use 1, 2, 3 time shift and 1, 2, 3 time shift. So now you can see we have an error because it is XOR operator and the shift left for 2 time, shift right for 2 time, and then shift left for 2 time. Now I just execute it and you can see num1 and the num2 value is 22, num1 and or num2 value is 31 here, num1 shift as a num2 22, sorry 29 here, and num1 is 11, and then num1 left shift is num2 is 24, num1 right shift is 2, and num1 is shifted means it's shifted 0, its a value is 2. So this is the bitwise operator in Java programming language. Now we just see the example of the ternary operator. The ternary operators evaluates the Boolean expressions and assign the value based on the result. Like it's a syntax of variable num1, and then we just check the expressions here, and then we just write the values, and the values are if true, and then we just check the value if false. So this is a simple syntax of this ternary operator. Now we just check the example of it. So our this example is public static void main and then string, and arguments. Now int num1 and num2. Okay, here I just write num1 which is equal to 25, and then so we have the no spaces here, so that's why. Yes. So now I just write num2. So num1 is not equal to 10. That's why the second value after the colon is assigned to the variable num2. So now I just assign the second value to the column variable num2. So num2 is equal to num1, and its second value which is 10, and then here I just write 100 and 200. Now I just write system dot out dot print line, and the print line here is num2 and concatenate num2, and now I just write num2 which is equal to num1, and num1 which is equal to 25 here, and then its expression, and then I just write the question mark sign and 100 ratio to 100. So if the value is true and the value is false, remember that. So now I just write system dot out dot print line, and the print line here is num1, sorry, num2 here, and then I just write plus num2. So num1 is equal to 25. That's why the first value is assigned to the variable num2. Now we just check the output for this ternary operator. So you can see num1 value is 200. So the value is here is it's take a false value here, and then now it's take a positive value here, means a true value here. So num1, num2 is 200, and then num2 is 100. So these are the operator in Java and the types of operators in Java. Thanks for watching this lecture. See you in next lecture. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to be discussed about the control statement in Java. A control statement is a statement that determines whether other statements will be executed. An if statement decides whether to execute another statement or decides which of two statements to execute. A loop decides how many times to execute another statement. A program executes from top to bottom. Expect when we use control statements, we can control the order of execution of the program based on the logic and values. In Java, control statements can be divided into the following three categories. First one is a selection statement, then iteration statement, and at the last, jump statement. So, selection statement. Selection statement allow you to control the flow of the program, execution on the base of the outcome of an exceptions or state of a variables known as a runtime. Selection statement can be divided into the following categories. First one is if and if else statement. Second one is if else statements. Third one is if else if statement. And at the last, switch statement. So here we just discussed the if statement. The if statement in Java works exactly like in the most programming language. The first contains the statements that can be a block of an if statement only execute when the specified condition is true. If the condition is false and there is no else keyword, then the first contained statement will be skipped and execution continues with the rest of the program. The condition is an exception that returns a boolean value like true or a false. Now we just go to the example. So here I just import one library. So the library here is import java.util, and util is our scanner class. So I just import this library. So now I just write public static void main, and main is a string here. So I just write arguments and then the block of code. Here I just define the integer, which is age, and then scanner class, which is import, and import is device. So which is equal to new scanner, and then I just write system dot in. Now I just write system dot output dot print line, and the print line here is please enter age. So I just take the scanner class here because I am taking the user input. So now I just write age, which is equal to input, and input is device, and device is next integer. Then here I just define my if statement. So if my age is greater than 18, and now in the if statement I just write system dot out dot print and the print line, and here I just write above 18. If my age is above 18, so it will be print I am above 18. So please enter your age. So I am right 19. So it is gives the answer you are above 18. Now I just go to the if else statement. I just click on this class if else statement. In if else statement, if the specified condition in the if statement is false, then the statement after the else keyword that can be a block will execute. Here I just write, so I import the library, import java util dot scanner, and now I just write public static void and main, and I just write string and arguments. Now here I just write int age and scanner input device, which is equal to new scanner and system dot in. Then I just write system dot out dot print, and the print line here is please enter your age. Now I just write age, which is equal to input and device dot next dot, so next int, and I just close this code here. Now I just write if age is greater than 18, greater than or equal to 18, so write system dot out dot print line, which is above 18, and if age is not above 18, so what will be the output? So we just go to the else statement. So else is system dot out dot print line, and print line is below 18. I just save this code and execute it. Please enter your age. I just write my age is 11-year-old. So you can see it will give us the answer, which is you are below 18. Then I just write execute it, and I just write I am 19-year-old. So it will give me answer which is above 18. Now we just go to the if else if statement. Now I just click on else if statement. So this statement following the else keyword can be another if or if else statement. This statement look like if, and here is your condition, and then a statement, then else if, and the else if condition here, and the statement, and then else statement and the condition of the else statement, and then statement. So whether the condition is true in this statement, the associated statement will be executed and the remaining condition will be bypassed. If none of the conditions are true, then the else block will be executed. Now I support library import java.util because I'm taking the user input here, so scanner class. Now I start public static void main, and I write string and arguments. Then input age and scanner, which is input and device, which is equal to new input device. Sorry, new input, and here I just write scanner and system dot in. Now I just write system dot out dot print and the print line here, and here I just write please enter age, and then I just write age which is equal to input and device dot next int. Now I use if statement. So if age is greater than or equal to 18, and use AND operator, and age which is less than or equal to 38. So system dot out dot print line, which is between 18 to 38. Then I write else statement. So else if is age is greater than 35 and age which is less than or equal to 60. So it's 38 and age is less than or equal to 60. So system dot out dot print line. and the print line here is between 38 to 60, and at the last I write else statement. So else is system dot out dot print line and not matched. Now we just check the output for this code. So the output is, here I just add I am a 18-year old. So I'm between 18 to 38. Then I just add I'm 30-year old. So the age between 18 to 38. Now I write 50. So I am between 38 to 60. And at last I just write 99. So my age is not matched with the statement. Now we just go to the switch statement. The switch statement is a multi-way branch statement. This switch statement of Java is another selection statement that defines a multiple path of the execution of a program. It provides a better alternative than a large series of if-else if statement. Now I just import java.util, and here I just write scanner and then go to the body, and here I just write public static void main and then string and the arguments. Now I just write integer age and scanner, which is input, and input is device here. Device which is equal to new scanner and system dot in. Now I write system dot out dot print line, and the print line here is please enter age, and then I just write age which is equal to input device, and it's input device dot next, and next is a integer here. Now I just define the switch statement, and the switch is the age of, and then here I just define the case. So case is 18-year-old age. So you can always close your age with a colon. Sorry, case with a colon. So I just write system dot out dot print line, and here I just write age which is 18, and then we just go to the another statement, but here I just break this statement. So after every statement you can break your statement first. Now I just copy this one and paste it one time, two time, three time, four time. So age is 19 here, and then 19. My age is 20, and it's 20 here. 21 and 21, and at the last 22 and 22. Now these are the ages, but after that ages, if these ages are not matched, then we just go to the default age. So default value, and then here it will print system dot out dot print line, and here I just write not matched, and then we just break this statement here. Now just check the output for this code. So please enter your age. So I am not 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. I just enter 25. So it will give me answer was not met. Then I just write 12. So not a 12, it's 18. So my age is 18. And then 21. So my age is 21. So these are the statement and the control statement in the Java and switch statements. Thanks for watching this lecture. See you in next lecture. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about the strings class. Strings, which are widely used in Java programming language, are the sequence of characters. In Java programming language, strings are treated such as objects. The Java platform provides the string class to create the manipulate strings. Here we see how to create the string. Now here I just write a string and greeting, which is equal to hello world. So this is a syntax of the string. So here is our string class. This is the name of the string and this is the value of the string. Whatever it encounter a string literal in your code. The compiler create a string object with its value in case hello world. Here you can see the value is hello world. As with any other object, you can create a string object by using the new keyword and a constructor. The string class has 11 constructors that allow you to provide the initial value of the string using different sources, such as an array of the characters. Now we just see the example of this string. So I just remove this and now here I write public and public is static void main, and here I write arguments. Then I write character and it's hello array. We learn about the array in our next upcoming tutorials. So here I just use an array which is a character of hello world hello array, and then the value of the array is h e l, and then I just write l and o. Now here I just write a dot and then I just write dot here, and as I just write I just close this code here. Now a string which is hello string. So this is the name of the string which is hello string and which is new string. And then here I just pass the parameters which is hello array. So this is the character name here, hello array. Now I just print my this code here. So yes, now so I just write system dot out dot print line, and the print line is hello string. Now we just see the output. So run. So you can see it will print all the hello string array, which is HELLO and dot sign. Now we just see the example and the example of the length string and see what is the length string. Method used to obtain the information about an object are known as accessor method. One accessor method that you can use with the string is the length method, which returns the number of characters contained in the string object. Now we just see the example of this string length. Here I write public and public is a static void main, and then I write string and arguments. Then I write string, and string is pend rom. Okay, so it's a pend rom, so which is equal to don't dot sa I was taught. Okay, and here I just write length, integer length, and which is equal to plan rom and dot length of it and close it. Now I just write system dot out dot print line, and which is a string length is. Okay, now here is a concatenate length, and now just check the output. So I just copy this and paste it here. So now just check the output. So our string length is 17. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17 here. So this is our string length. So now we just see the concatenating string here. The concatenating class includes a method of concatenating two strings. First one is, here is a string1 dot concat, and then here I just write a string 2. Okay, so this is the number one method. This return a new string that is string number 1 with the string number 2 added to it. At the end, you can also use the concat method to string lateral. As in, you can see here I just write my name is and plus dot concat, and here I just write Fayaz. So my name is Fayaz here. So first one is I just give it the two string number 1 and concatenate the string number 2. And the another method is concatenate and my name. Now we just see the result or example of this code. So here I just write public static void main, and then I just write string, and the string is arguments here, and then a string and the string number 1, which is equal to saw I was, and then I just write system dot out out dot print line, and which is dot, and then I just concatenate my string here. So plus string number 1. So here I just write plus, and then I just write string number 1, and then I just write plus, and plus is thought. Okay, and then close this code. Now you just see the output for this code. So you can see dot and then saw I was and then concatenation of dot. So you can see the concatenating string and the example of the concatenating string. So these are the strings and the types of string in Java programming language. Thanks for watching. See you in next lecture. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about the modifier and its type. Modifiers are the keywords that you add to those definitions to change their meanings. Java language has a wide range of modifiers, including Java access modifier and non-access modifier. To use a modifier, you include its keyword in the definition of a class, method, or variable. The modifier precedes the rest of the statement. Now we just simply see the example of the modifier. So here you can see public and class and the class name. Then leave it this class body. We just come to the private, and then here I just write boolean and write my flag. Now after this I just write static and the final keyword and double. So doubles are weeks. So week is equal to, I just write 9.5. Then I just go to the protected class. Now I just write here protected. So protected is static and the final keyword, and then I just write int, and int here is box width, which is equal to 45. Now here I just write public, and it's public static void main, and then I just write string and arguments, and then the body of the method here. So what is the work of the private class here? A private number is only accessible within the same class as it is declared. A member with no access modifier is only accessible within the classes in the same package. A protected member is accessible within all classes in the same package and within the subclasses in other packages. Now we just see the protected class. So the protected class is a member, method, or a variable. It's just like a package private. Default visibility expect that it also can be accessed from subclass. Since there is no such a concept as subpackages or a package inheritance in the Java. We learn about inheritance in next upcoming tutorials. So declaring a class protected or a package private would be the same thing. So now we just go to the access modifiers. So Java provide a number of access modifiers to set the access level of classes, variable methods, and constructors. Here, four access levels are visible to the package. The default no modifier are needed. Visible to the classes only, which is the private here. Visible to the word, which is public. So public is accessible in all the classes or all the package. So public is visible to all the word. So now visible to the package and all the subclasses are protected. So here we have no modifier, then private, public, and the protected. Now we just see now we see what is default access modifier. We also call it non-keyword. Default access modifier means we do not explicitly declare an access modifier for a class, field, and method abstraction. A variable or method declared without any access control modifier is available to any other class. In the same package, the field in an interface are implicitly public, static, final, and the method in an interface are by default public. Now here the example of non-keyword default access modifier. So I just remove this one, and here I just write, or I just remove this all. So here I just write a string, and string is a version which is equal to 1.5.1, and then I just write boolean, and then process order. Okay, and then it's return the value which is true. So this is called non-keyword access modifier, which is a default modifier. Now we just go to the private access modifier. So it's a private modifier. So methods, variables, and constructors that are declared private can only be accessed within the declare class itself. Private access modifier is the most restrictive access level. Class and interface cannot be private. Variables that are declared private can be accessed outside the class if public gather method are present in the class. Using the private modifier is a main way that an object encapsulates itself and hide data from the outside world. So here we use the private access modifier. Now we just see the example of this private access modifier, and here here I just write private and then string and format. Okay, and then public string, and we just get that format. So format. So this is the format here, and now I just write return, and return is a this keyword and then format. Now we just go to the public class. So public void, and here I just set the format. So now I just write string, and string is the format here. Now this keyword and then format, which is equal to format. Okay, here the format variable of the access modifier class is a private, so there is no way for other classes to retrieve or set its value directly. So to make this variable available to the outside world, we define two public methods, which is getFormat, which return the value of format, and then the setFormat, which is a string and which set its value here. So now we just go to the public access modifier. A class method constructor interface structure declare a public can be accessed from any other class. Therefore, fields, methods, blocks declared inside a public class can be accessed from any class belong to the Java universe. However, if the public class we are trying to access is in a different package, then the public class still need to be imported because of class inheritance. All public methods are variables of a class and inherited by its subclass. We learn about the inheritance in next upcoming tutorials, but here you just need to understand that what is the access modifiers public, class, public, private, and protected. So here I just remove this one, and then how to set the public class. So public we just already used in our alt lectures and the examples, and here public static void and then main and string. So string here, and then you can write the arguments. So these are the public class. So the main method of an application has to public, otherwise it could not be called by the Java interpreter such as Java to return the class. Means you can always write the main method for an application when you declare the public class. Now we just go to the protected class. Variables, methods, and the constructor, which are declared protected in a a superclass, can be accessed only by the subclasses in other packages or any class within the package of protected member class. The protected access modifier cannot be applied to class and interface methods. Field can be declared protected. However, methods and fields in an interface cannot be declared protected. Protected access gave the subclass a chance to use the helper method or variable, while preventing a non-rated class from trying to use it. Now we just see the example of protected class. So here is the access modifier. So I'm just giving an example here for a audio player. So I just remove this one, and here I just write after this. So these are the implementation details area. No, sorry, it was not implementation detail area. So here after this I just write protected and boolean, then I just write open speaker, and then here I just write speaker sp, a short form of speaker. So here this is the implementations detail area. So I just leave this one and then go to the class. So here I just write class, creating a new class here, so which is streaming audio player. Okay, so this is a class name, and then I just write boolean and open speaker, and here I just write speaker sp. Okay, and then I just write this, then this is the implementations details area. So let's see what I did here. Here, if we define open speaker, you can see open speaker. So the open speaker method is a private, then it would not be accessible from any other class. Then our this means the class name, which is access modifier. So if we define it as a public, then it would become accessible to all the outside world. But other intentions is to expose with method to it subclasses only. That's why we have use protected modifier. Now we see the non-access modifiers. Java provide a number of non-access modifiers to achieve many other functionalities. The static modifier for creating the class methods and the variables. The final modifier for finalizing the implementation of classes, methods, and the variables. And the third number, the abstract modifier for creating the abstract classes and the methods. And at the last, we have the synchronized and volatile, volatile modifiers, which are used for threads. Now we see the static modifier. So the static keyword used to create the methods that will exist independently of any instance created for the class. Static method do not use any instance variable of any object of the class. They are defined in static methods. Take all the data from parameters and compute something to those parameters with no reference to variable. Class variable and the methods can be accessed using the class name followed by a dot and the name of the variable or a method. Now we see the example of this static modifier. So here I just write public class instance counter. Okay, now here I just write private, and I just remove this one. So private is static void, and it's a p is a small p here, and a private static void static integer, and then number instance, which is equal to 0. Then protected, static, and the int. So here I just write get count, and then and here I just write return and num instance. Okay, now here I just write public, sorry, it's private here, and private static void, and here I just write add instance. So add instance, and then it's add instance here. Okay, now I just write num instance plus plus. Okay, and then instance counter and instance counter here, which is dot add instance. Okay, now public static void main and string arguments. Okay, and here I write system dot out dot print line, which is starting with, sorry, it's with, and then I just concatenate instance counter dot get count, and then plus instance. Okay, now I just use for loop here. So we learn about the loops in our next upcoming tutorials. So here I just write for int and I, which is less than 500, and then I just write I plus plus. So now new and instance counter, and then close this code here, and then go to the system dot out dot print line and created plus instance counter dot get count. So here I just write plus and then instance. Okay, so this is example of this static modifier. Now we just go to the final variable. A final variable can be explicitly initialized only once. A reference variable declared final can never be reassigned to refer to a different object. However, the data within the object can be changed. So the state of the object can be changed but not the reference. With variables, the final modifier often is used with static to make the constant a class variable. Now I just remove this example and then go to the final variable. So final is a keyword. So final int and value, and the value which is equal to 10. Then public static and final int and any name like nd, which is equal to 6. Then static final, and it's final and string, and then title. Okay, so title, which is equal to, I just write developer. Okay, and then here I just write public void change, and the change value is, here I just write value, and then I just write value, which is equal to 12. So here this value will give error. Here we all declare, in this section we just all declare the constructs, means, sorry, not a construct, it's a declaring all the constants values. So this is a process to declare the final variable. Now you can also be declare final as a method. So a final method cannot be overridden by any subclasses. As I told you, the final modifier prevents a method from being modified in a subclass. So you can also declare a final as a method. So you can see public, and here I just write public final, and I just remove this one, and you can see final void, and here I just write change name. Okay, so this is to declare the method final. So you can see the public final, and then void and change name, so method name here. You can also declare final as a class, like the main purpose of using a class being declared as a final is to prevent the class from being subclassed. If a class is marked as a final, then no class can inherit any feature from the final class. So you can see like public and final class, which is test, and this is the body of the class. Okay, now we just turn to the access modifier. So here, yes, I just remove this. So an abstract class never be initiated. If a class is declared as abstract, then the sole purpose is for the class to be extended. A class cannot be both abstract and final, since a final class cannot be extended. If a class contains abstract method, then the class should be declared abstract. Otherwise, a compiler error will be thrown. An abstract class may contain both abstract method as well normal method. Now you just see the example of this abstract class. So in abstract class we have in abstract modifier we have abstract class, abstract modifier. So we have the two types here. So here you can see how to declare the abstract class. So abstract, and then the class. So class name I just write Fayaz. Okay, so this is the abstract class, and then you can write private and double price. So this is a method of declaring the abstract class. Now we just see how to declare the abstract methods. An abstract method is a method declared without any implementation. The method body implementation is provided by the subclass. Abstract method can never be final or strict. Any class that extends an abstract class must implement all the abstract method of the superclass, unless the super subclass is also an abstract class. Now you see the example of how to declare the abstract method. So this is our abstract class. So I just remove this, and now you can see here I just write public abstract class, and I just gave it the name which is super class. Okay, then I just write abstract void m. So this is the method what I declared, which is abstract method. So abstract void and the name. Then here I just go to the class subclass and then extends, which is super class. So I just write class and here is a super class. Okay, now I just implement the abstract method here. So void m and then the body. So this is the method of how to declare the abstract method. Now we just go to the synchronize modifier. The synchronized keyword used to indicate that a method can be accessed by only one thread at a time. The synchronize modifier can be applied with any of four access level modifiers. So we have here transient modifier and the volatile modifier. But we just here see how to declare a synchronized modifier. So I just remove this all and here I just write public and synchronized and then void. So synchronized void and then show details and then the body of the public synchronized modifier. So these are the some types of modifier in Java. Thanks for watching this lecture. See you in next lecture. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to be discussed about the loop controls in Java programming language. There may be a situation when you need to execute a block of code several number of times. In general, statements are executed sequentially. The first statement in a function that execute first, followed by the second, and so on. Programming languages provide the various control structures that allow for more complicated execution path. A statement follows us to execute a statement or a group of statements multiple times, and following is the general form of a loop statement in the most of the programming languages. So we have the different types of loop in Java programming language. Fourth one is a for loop, and then for each loop, while loop, and the do while loop. So now we see what is for loop. So for loop, a for loop is a repetitions control structure that allow you to efficiently write a loop to execute a specific number of times. A loop is a useful when you know how many times a task is to be repeated. Now we see the syntax of the for loop. So here it's a for, and then here you can initialize, then you can give it the boolean expressions, and then you can do the updates, and then your statement will be right here. So the initializing step is executed first and only once. This step allows you to declare a control variable, and this steps end with a semicolon. You can see here. So this step end with semicolon. Remember that. Next, the Boolean expressions is evaluated if it is true. The body of the loop is executed. If the loop will not be executed and controls jump to the next statement, pause the for loop. After the body of the for loop gets executed, the control jump back up to the update statement. It allows you to update any loop control variable. This statement can be left blank with a semicolon. Now we see the Boolean expressions. The Boolean expressions is now evaluated again. If it is true, the loop execute and process repeat body of the loop and then update step and then the Boolean expressions. After the Boolean expression is false, the for loop is terminated. Now we see the example of this for loop. So here I just write my class's name is for loop and then I just write public static and void main, then string, and string is arguments, and then here I just declare 4 and for integer I which is equal to 0 110. So this is a step of initializing. Now here I just give it the boolean, so I is greater than 1. So here this loop check the statement is true or statement is false, and then I write I minus minus. So this is a decrement operator, and now system dot out dot print, and here I just write print line, and then the value of I is, and then I just close this string here and plus I, so concatenate I here. Now just see the output of it. So proceed, and then you can see the value of I is 10 because I is greater than 1. So I is greater than 1, so I value is 10 here. So the loop, so the value of I is 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, 9. So it will be executed 9 times because it start with the value 2. So now I just gave it the example of infinite for loop. So infinite means it will be execute the unlimited number of time. So here I just simply make a change like I, and I is equal to 1 here, and I is greater than 1. So this is the increment operator here. So system dot print line and the value of I is and concatenations. Now I just run this code. So and uh, and here I just write I is greater than or equal to 1. So you can see when I just run this code, and the value of I is, so it will be run infinite number. So this is an infinite loop, as a condition would never return false. It will always true. So the initializing step is set up the value of the variable I is to 1. Since we are incrementing the value of I, it would always be the greater than 1. And the Boolean expressions here is I is greater than 1. So it would never return false. This would evenly lead to the infinite loop conditions. Thus, it is important to see the coordination between, the coordination between Boolean expression and increment and the decrement operators to determine whether the loop would terminate at some point of the time or not. So this is the example of the for loop. So I just finished this. So now we just see the example of the for loop iterate an array. So here I just remove this, and now after this int array, and then which is equal to 2, and here I just write 12 and 45 and 9. So we learn about the array in our next upcoming lectures. So I just write 4 and 4 integer here, and I which is equal to 0, and then I is less than array dot length, and then I plus plus. So here I just write system dot out dot print, and the print line here, and array which is I. So here I start with 0 as an array index start with 0 2. So now we just see the example of iterate, and you can see 2, 12, 45, and 9. So this is the output of iterate in array. Now we just turn to for each loop in Java. For each is another array traversing technique like for loop, which is introduced in Java 5. It starts with the keyword for, like a normal in for loop. Instead of declaring or initializing a loop counter variable, you declare a variable that is the same type as a base type of the array, followed by a colon, which is then followed by the array name. In the loop body, you can use the loop variable you created rather than using an index array element. It's commonly used to iterate over an array or a collection class. So here is a syntax of the for loop, which is for, and then you can type a variable and then array. Okay, and then you can write this statement using var means a variable. So now here we just see the example of for loop. Now here I just write public static and void main, which is a string and then arguments. Then here I just write int and the size of array and marks, which is equal to 120, 130, 140, and 150 and 95, and at the last I just write 100. Okay, so close this code here, and then here I just write int and highest underscore marks, and highest marks which is equal to maximum, and here I just write marks. Okay, so now so here it's a maximum. Okay, so now I just write system dot out dot print line, and then the print line is, so here I just click on the print line, and the print line here is the highest score is. Okay, and then I just write plus highest underscore marks. Okay, and here I just close this code, and then I just write public and static integer, and then maximum, and here I just write int and then numbers. Okay, so now I just open my statement, and then I just write integer, which is max so far. Okay, which is equal to number, and the number here is 0. Now so it is equal to, so I just write which is equal to number. Okay, so these are the numbers, not a number here, it's a numbers. Now I just write for each loop here, so for and int num, which are numbers here. Okay, and then here I just write if statement, so if number is greater than max so far, and the max so far are max so far, which is equal to num. and then here I just write return value. So return value here is max so far. Okay, and a bracket here. So I just remove this bracket. So its value is return max so far. Okay, now we just check the output for this. So we have 120, 130, 140, 150, 95 and 100. So it will pick only a highest score. So you can see proceed, and the highest score here is 150. So this is a example of the for each loop. Now we just turn to the while loop. A while loop statement in Java programming language rapidly execute a target statement as long as given condition is true. So now we just check the while loop, and this is a program of while loop. Yes. So what is the syntax of the while loop? So here you simply write while boolean expression, okay, and then your statement. Okay, here a statement may be a single statement or a block of statements. The condition may be any expressions, and the true is any non-zero value. When executing, if the boolean expression result is true, then action inside the loop will be executed. This will continue as long as expression result is true. When the conditions become false, program control passed to the line immediately follow the loop. So how this while loop run? So first of all, it will just check the statement, which is the boolean statement or and the method you declare are in your code, and then it's come to the code, means what you write the conditional code here. Then it check the condition, and then if the condition is true, then so it will go to the block code and then go to the conditions and then execute. If the condition is false here, so it's directly go to the ending point. Here key point of the while loop is that the while loop may not ever run when the expression is tested and the result is false. The loop body will be skipped and the first statement after the loop will be executed. Now we see the example of while loop. So here I just write public static void main and then string and arguments. Then I just write integer I which is equal to 10, and here I just write while and I is greater than 1, and then I just write system dot out dot print, and the print line here is I just pass the parameter I, and at the last I plus plus. So I save this code and execute it. So you can see it's run an infinite number of time. So this is infinite while loop. Now I just write here minus minus. So I stop this, and then you can see 10 9 8 7 6 5 3 2, and it start from 1. So this is an example of while loop. So now we just turn to the do while loop. A do while loop is similar to a while loop. Expect that a do while loop is generated to execute at least one time. Means the do while loop, if a condition is true or a condition is false, it will be executed one time. So the syntax of this do while loop is, so here I just write the syntax. So you can write do and then the statement here, and then you can write while loop and boolean expressions here. Notice that the boolean expressions appears at the end of the loop. So the statement in the loop execute once before the boolean is tested. If the Boolean expression is true, the control jump back to, to do this statement, and the statement in the loop execute again. This process repeat until the Boolean expression is false. Means when the Boolean expression is false, the process will stop work. Now we just see the example of this do while loop. I just remove this, and here I just write public static void main and then string and arguments. Now here I write integer I which is equal to 10, and then I write do. So do system dot out dot println, which is I here, and then I write I minus minus, and then I write while. So while here the Boolean expression, so I is greater than 1. So now just see the result. So you can see 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. So now here I just write the increment operator here for the infinite number of time. So you can see it will be executed when this statement is false. So it will be stop work. So these are the loops in Java, which are the for loop, for each loop, while loop, and do while loop. Thanks for watching this lecture. See you in next lecture. Thank you. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to be learn about the arrays in Java. Java provide a data structure, the array which store a fixed size sequential collection of elements of the same type. An array is used to store a collection of data, but it is often more useful to think of an array as a collection of variables of the same type. Instead of declaring an individual variable such as number 0, number 1 and up to so on, you declare one array variable such as number and use number 0 to number 1 and up to so on to present the individual variable. So this lecture introduced how to declare array variable, create array and process array using the index variable. The advantage of the array is first of all a code optimization. It makes the code optimize. We can retrieve or sort the data easily. Then the random access. We can get any data located at any index position. What are the disadvantages of the arrays? First, only the one advantage is disadvantage, which is size limit. We can store only the fixed size of element in the array. It does not grow its size at the runtime. To solve the problem, collection framework is used in Java. If you want to solve this problem, so you can use the collection framework in is used in Java. So the types of array in Java are, there are two types of array. One is a single dimension array and another one is a multi-dimensional array, which is also called 2D array. So the example of the single dimension array. Let's see the simple example of Java array where we are going to declare and initiate and initialize and traverse in array. So here is a class of single dimension array, and now I just write public, and the public is a static void main, and main here is a string and arguments. Then I just write int a, and int a here is the array which is equal to new integer, and the array size here is 5. So this is a single dimensional array. So I just declare here and initialize an array here. Now I just initialize array, so index number 0, so which is a value of 10, then a, and index number 1, so I just keep the value 20, then a, index number 3 and the value is 30. Then A, the index number 4 and the value here is 50. And then A and the index number 5 and the value here is 100. So these are our 5 index what we create here, new int and the 5 index array. Okay, so we are initialize this array here. So now I just printing array. So I just use the for statement, for loop here. So for int I which is equal to 0, and then I is less than a dot length. Okay, and then I plus plus. So the length is property of an array, so that's why I just gave it the length. So system dot out dot print line and then a and I. Okay, so our single dimension array is completed here. So I just run this code, so it's static, and I just close this. And now, so this is not give me the output, correct output. I think there is an error in the compiler, but this is a process of declaring a single dimension array. Now we just turn to the multi-dimensional array in Java. So let's see how the multi-dimensional array works. Here I just write static, and sorry, it's public static void main and then a string and arguments. Now I just write int and int here, so a which is equal to, and then I just write 1 2 3, and I just close with the curly brackets, and then 4 5 6. Okay, and then here I just write 7. Okay, so this is our multi-dimensional array, which is 1 2 3 4 5 6 and at the last 7. And here I just write 8. Okay, now here I just write system dot out dot print and the print line here. So here I just write length and length of row 1, and here is a plus and 0. So we have the 0 indexed here, so I just write length, and then I just copy this. So system dot out print line and row number 2 and at the last row number 3, index number 1 and index number 2 here. Now I just run this program. So run, so you can see the length of row 1 is 3. We have the 3 index in this length, and then the length of row 2 is 4. We have 4 index here, and at the last the length of 3 is 1 because we have 3 index here. Now we just see the example of one dimensional array because our last example was not working properly, so I just decide to do one another example. So here I just write integer and I array, and then which is equal to new integer. Okay, and it's a 3 here. And now I just write I array and then 0 and which is equal to 1. So this is the index number 1. Now I array and the index number 2 here is 2, and then I array and the index number 3 here is 3, And then now here I just initialize an array here, and here I just declare of allocation memory of to an array. Now I just display the array elements. So system dot out dot print line. So here is system dot out dot print line, and then I write I array, and the index size is 0 here. Okay, so I just close this, and this is not a comment, so I just remove this quotation here, and this is array. Okay, and it's in index 0. Now I just copy this, paste 1 and 2 time because we have the 3 index here, so index number 1 and index number 2. So index number 2. Now I just use the for loop to display the animal in elements. So here I just write int I, which is equal to 0, and then I just write I, which is length, and length of I array. Okay, and I is I array, and here I just write dot length. Okay, and I is equal to I plus 1. Then here I just write system dot out dot print line, and the print line here is I array, and the array here is I, and then system dot out dot print line, and here is an empty string. And I forget to add the public and public static void main, and then a string here and arguments. So now, and here is the error of array, and it's I array, array, and array. Now I just run this code. So you can see the example of means 1 2 3, and then 1 2 and 3, which is the index of the array, which is index 1 2 3, and then 1 space 2 space 3. You can see the string, empty string here. So these are the single dimensional array and the multi-dimensional array in Java. Thanks for watching this lecture. See you in next lecture. Welcome to this lecture, and in this lecture we are going to be discussed about the methods in Java. A Java method is a collection of statements that are grouped together to perform operation. You can call the system.out.println is a method. For example, the system actually execute the several statement in order to display a message to a console. Now you will learn how to create your own method with or without return value. Invoke a method with or without parameters, and apply method abstractions in the program design. Now we just see uh, how to create the method. So now I just write here public static int, and then main. So I just write its main and function. So you can also call a function to a method. So here int and 1, and then int and 2. So this is a method, and the method name, and then the parameters. Now I just start with this method. Here I just write integer main. So I just take this main here, and then I just write if, and the if statement n1 is greater than n2. So main, which is equal to n2, and then I write else. So else is main here, and then I write main, which is equal to n1, and at the last return main. So this is the return value of main. So here in this code, the above defined method, which is called main. This method take two parameter, which is n1 and n2, and return the maximum value between these two. Now we just check what is the method calling. For using a method, it should be called. There are two ways in which a method is called. For example, method return a value or returning nothing. So no, if it's not returning nothing, so it have no return value. The process of method calling is simple. So now we just see here, and I just remove this, and here I just write public static void main, and then I just write a string and arguments, and then I just write the integer a, and integer a which is equal to 11, int b which is equal to 6, int c which is equal to main and function. So function here, okay. Now we have the two parameters, which is a and b, and then I just write system dot out dot, and the system dot out, and then print line. So here I just write print line, and then I just write here minimum and value, okay. And here I just write minimum value which is equal to, and then concatenate c, okay. Now I just go to the return in the maximum of two numbers here. So I just write public and static void, sorry, not the static, here it's static int, and then here I just write main, and then return value from our function. So return function and integer and 1, and then integer and 2 here, okay. And now here I just write int main, and then if same code what I write, and greater than n2, and then main which is equal to n2, and then the else statement, and the else statement here is main which is equal to n1, and then return which is main, okay. So now I just check the output for this code. So here the maximum value between these two is 6. Sorry, the minimum value between two is 6. So this is the method calling in our Java. First we create the method here, and then we just call the method, okay. Now we see passing parameters by values in functions. While working under calling process, arguments is to be passed. These should be in the same order as their respective parameters in the method specification. Parameters can be passed by value or by reference. Passing parameter by value means calling a method with a parameters. Through this, the argument's value is passed to parameter. Now we just see the example of method uh, passing parameters by value. Here I just write public static void main, and then string. After the string arguments, and then integer a which is equal to 30, integer b which is equal to 45, and system dot out dot print line, and the print line here I just write before swapping. So I'm just creating the swapping program here, and then a which is equal to, sorry, and here I just write a which is equal to, and then I just write plus a plus, and then and b which is equal to. Okay, then I just write plus b plus, and then I just invoke the swap method. So here I just write swap and swap. So swap is a function, and here's the two parameters, which is a plus and b, and then system dot out dot print line, and here I just write slash n for the single line break, and then I just write now before and after swapping. Okay, and now we just go to the system dot out dot print line, and then after swapping a which is equal to, and then plus a and b is. So here I just concatenate b. Okay, now I just write public static void and swap function. Okay, and the parameters here is and a and b. Okay, and now I just write system dot out dot print line, and the print line here is before swapping and inside. Okay, and then I just write a which is equal to, and plus a, and b which is equal to, and plus b. Okay, now I just swipe n1 with n2. So now here I just swap n1 with n2, so int c which is equal to a, and a which is equal to b, and then b which is equal to c. So system dot out dot print line, and the print line here is after, and the print line here is after swapping inside. Okay, and then a which is equal to, and here a plus a plus, and then b and plus b. So our program is ready to execute. So here I just create an integer which is a is equal to 30 and b is equal to 45. Then system dot out dot print line, which is before swapping the a value. So here I just concatenate a and the value of b. Then I just create a function name and the parameters. So we are just passing value by the parameter. So we have the parameter a and the parameter b. So at the last, here I just swap the value, which is c is equal to a, and then b is equal to a. So a takes b value and then b takes c value. So here c which is equal to a. Now just check the output. So here, yes. So now before and after swapping the value, a is equal to 30 and b is equal to 45. Now before and after swapping the value, and here, yes, before swapping the value 30 and b is equal to 45, before swapping the inside value, which is a is equal to 30 and b is equal to 45, after the swapping value inside, which is a is equal to 45 and b is equal to 30. So a takes b value and b takes a value. So this is the program for passing parameters by value in method. So these are the methods and the types of method, what we create the method first and then we just call the method and then pass parameters by its value. So thanks for watching this lecture. See you in next lecture. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about the date and the time functionality and the date and time library in Java. Here, Java provides the date class available in java.util package. This class encapsulates the current date and time. So the date class supports two constructors such as date and then date long millisecond. So the date here and the long millisecond. So date, this constructor initialize the object with the current date and time, and date long millisecond. So this constructor accept an arguments that's equal to the number of milliseconds that have in elapsed since midnight, like here I just write January 1st and 2017. So now how to get the date and time using our code. So now here I just import a library, import java.util, and then here I just write date. So this is our library for importing the date, and then public static void main, and then here I just write string and the arguments. Now instantiate a date object. Here date, and then I just write date where it is equal to new date. So we just create a date object here, and then we just display the time and date using toString. So system dot out dot print, and the print is line here, and then here I just display the date and time. So date dot to string, and then I just close this code. Now we just check the output for this. So okay, and you can see Wednesday January 17, and this is my time and it's PKT 2018. Now we just see the date formatting using simple date format. So the simple date format is a concrete class of formatting and pausing the date in a local sensitive manner. Simple date format allows you to start to choosing any user defined pattern for date and time formatting. Here in this code, we just import two libraries. One is our java.util and another one is java.text. So here I just import java.util and then I just import java.text. Okay, now I just use public static void main and then string arguments. Now here I just write date. So this is the object here, and then now, which is equal to new date. And then I just write simple date format, and which is ft, which is equal to new sample date format, and then it's e, and I just write year here and then month and date, and here I just write at, and then here hours and minutes and seconds, and then z. Okay, and here after this I just write system dot out dot print line, and here I just display the date and time. So here I just write current date and plus ft dot format. So the format here is d now. Okay, date now. Now we just check the output for this code. So we have the current date, which is Wednesday 2018 and the 27 and 17. Okay, and this is my time, and it's 8:27, and this is the second here, and this is my time zone. So this is zone here, and this is my time location. So these are the date and time functionality in Java. Thanks for watching this lecture. See you in next lecture. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to be discussed about the regular expressions in Java. Java provides the java.util.regex, means a regular expressions package for pattern matching with regular expressions. Java regular expressions are very similar to the Perl programming language and very easy to learn. A regular expression is a special sequence of characters that help you to match or find other strings or set of strings using a specialized syntax held in the pattern. They can be used to search, edit, or manipulate text and the data. The java.util.regex package consists of three classes, which are pattern class, matcher class, pattern syntax exception. So the pattern class, a pattern object is a compiled representation of a regular expression. The pattern class provides no public constructor. To create a pattern, you must invoke one of its public static compile method, which will then run a pattern object. These methods accept a regular exception as the first arguments. Now we just see the matcher class. A matcher object is engine that interprets the pattern and perform match operation against an input string. Like the pattern class matcher define no public constructors. You obtain a matcher object to invoking the matcher method on the pattern object. And then pattern syntax exceptions. A pattern syntax exception object is an unchecked exception that indicates a syntax error in the regular expressions patterns. Now we just see the example of this regular expression exceptions and three types of java.util regular exception package. So here I support java.util, and util here is regular, and I just write match char. Okay, and now I just import java.util.regex.pattern. So these are the two classes library what I import here. Now I write public static void main. Okay, and then here I just write string arguments. Now here I just write string line, and which is equal to this order was placed for, I just write any number like SK900, and here I just write OK. So the string, this string is to be skin and it will be find a pattern. So now I just place one another string, so which is for pattern, and the pattern here is I just write the pattern and dot and the static here, dot and static, and then I just write double backslash d plus and then dot static. Okay, and close this code here. Now I just create the object to my pattern. So pattern or which is equal to pattern dot compile method. Okay, and then here I just pass an object which is parameter which is pattern. So now I just create an object for matcher, and here is a p, and p is a capital here. So now matcher m which is equal to r dot matcher, and here's the input is line. Okay, if a statement, and if m dot find, so system dot out dot print line which is found value. Okay, and then I just write plus m dot group, and here's the group value is 0. So our code for this regular expressions is completed here. I just run this code, and you can see found value which is this string, and this is order was placed for sk900 and OK. So this is example of regular expressions in Java. Thanks for watching this lecture. See you in next lecture. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture we are going to be learn about file input and output in Java. In Java, file.input-output library, or we can say input-output package, consist consists nearly every class you might ever need to perform input and output in Java. All these streams represent an input source and an input destination. The stream in the Java input-output package supports many data such as parameter, object, localized, character, and etc. Now, what is a stream? A stream can be defined as a sequence of data. There are two kinds of stream in Java: input and output. First one is input stream, and another one is output stream. The input stream is used to read the data from a source, and the output stream is used for writing data to a destination. Like here, the input is used for reading the data. So here you have source, and then we have program, and then destination. Okay, so input read data from here, and then it's go to the program, and then this data used by output stream for writing the destination. So Java provides a strong flexibility support for input output related to the files and the networks. But this lecture cover very basic functionality related to the stream and input output. So we will see the most common example used in this input and output stream, which is byte stream. Java byte stream are used to perform input and output of 8-bit byte. Through there are many classes related to byte streams, but the most frequently used class are file input stream and the file output stream. Now you see these file input and file output stream in our example. Now here, first of all, I just import a library for input and output. So here java dot input output. Okay, and here I just write public static void main and then string, and sorry, it's a string and arguments here, and then here I just write throw exceptions. Okay, I will tell you about throw exception in my next tutorials. So exception here, and then after this I just write file input streams stream, okay, in which is equal to null. So this throw exception is not in bracket, so here there is null, and then I just write file output stream, and here I just write out which is equal to null. Now I just write try. So here I just write int which is equal to new and file input. I will tell you about the throw, catch, and try, and finally keyword in my next coming tutorials. So I will tell you about this in my exception handling topic. So just make a concept here. So I just write stream, and then here I just write input and input dot text. Okay, and then I just write out which is equal to new and file output stream. Okay, here I just write output dot text. Okay, now I just create an integer which is c, and then while which is c is equal to in dot read, and I just remove this one, and here's a two brackets, so I just make it one. Okay, so now after this I just write, yes, it's true. Okay, now after this I just write not, and then which is equal to minus 1, and close this bracket here, and then I just start my while code. So here I just write out dot write, and right here is c, so c is a parameter. Then we just go to the finally keyword. So here I just write finally, and if I in not equal to null, so in dot closed, and then I just write the if condition again. So if our output which is not null, then we just say out dot closed. Okay, so here I just import these two text file with the input and output, and then I just run this code. So here the code is working properly, and I have no text in these files, so that's why it's not coming here. So this is the file input and output in Java. Thanks for watching this lecture. See you in next lecture. Thank you. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to be discussed about the exceptions in Java. An exception or exceptional event is a problem that arises during the execution of the program. When an exception occurs, the normal flow of the program is disturbed and the program applications terminated abnormally. which is not recommended. Therefore, these exceptions are to be handled. An exception can occur for many different reasons. A user has entered a invalid data, so that's why a exception is occur. Or a file that need to be opened cannot be found, and a network connection has been lost in the middle of communication, or the JVM means Java Virtual Machine has run out of memory. Some of these exceptions are causes by user error, other by programmer's error, and others by physical resource that have failed in some manner. Based on these, we have three categories of exceptions. You need to understand them to know them how exceptions handled work in Java. First one, the checked exception. A checked exception is an exception that occurs at the compiler time. These are also called a compiler time exceptions. These exceptions cannot simply be ignored at time of compilation. The programmer should take care of handle these exceptions. For example, if you are use file reader class in your program to read the data from a file, if the file is specified in its constructor, it does not exist, then a file not found in exceptions means file not found exceptions occur, and the compiler promotes the programmer to handle the exception. Now we just see the example of this exception. So here I just import a library which is for java.input output, and here the input output is file. Okay, and then I just write, and here is a input output file. Okay, now I just import the library which is java.input output, and java.input output dot file, and here's a file reader. Okay, and this is a capital file here. Now I just write public and static void main, and then string arguments, and then here I just write file and file which is equal to new file, and then here I just write the file name which is in E, and it's a double backslash which is I just name the file here. So the file name here is file dot text, and then I just write file and file reader. Okay, and then fr which is equal to new file reader. Okay, and here I just pass the parameter which is file. So now here file and file, sorry, it's a file reader. Okay, so here it will shown an error exception. So we just run this and proceed. So you can see unhandled exception type, which is file non-found exception here. So this is an error here. So now we just go to the throw exceptions to clear this problem. So what is throw exception? Throw is also a keyword. If a method does not handle a checked exception, the method must declare it using the throw keyword. The throws keyword appeared at the end of the method signature. You can throw an exception, either a newly initiated one or an exception that you just catch, by using the throw keyword. Try to understand the difference between throws and throw keyword. Throws used to postpone the handling of a checked exception, and throw is used to invoke an exception explicitly. So now here we just see the example of this throw exception. So I just create a class which is a name of throw exception.java. So here I just import a library which is java.input output, and then I just go to the coding area, and here I just write public void deposit, and then here I just write double amount. So our deposit is double in amount. Okay, and here I just write throw exception. So throw here is remote exception, and then I just declare the method of implementation of throw exception. So here throw, which is new remote exception. Okay, and then I just write here. So this is a method to throw an exception. Now we just see the another method to throw an exception. So here I just write insufficient funds exception example. So I just leave it this code here, which is throw remote exception, but here I just make one another example, and here I just write comma, and then I just write insufficient funds exception. Okay, and then run my code here. So it is insufficient fund exception. So this is a also example of the fund insufficient exception. So a method can declare that it throws more than one exception. Means if you want to declare a throw more than one time exception. So in this case, the exception are declared in the list separated by the comma. Like I want to show this exception and this exception in one program. So you can separate by this comma. Okay. Now we just go to the finally block. The finally block follows a try block or a catch block. A finally block of code always execute irrespectively irrespective of occurs of an exception. Using a finally block allow you to run any cleanup type statements that you want to execute, no matter what happened in the protected code. So now we just see the example of the finally block. So here's class and new, and here's just write finally, and then it's a Java. Okay, so the syntax of this finally is, first of all, you can define try. So these are the protected code, and then I just catch the exception. So here you can write the exception and its type. Then you can make the object of the exception, which is E1. Then you can catch this block and then go to the catch another exception here. So catch and exception, which is a type, and exception 2. Okay, then you can catch this block and then go to the finally keyword. Okay, so then finally, so this finally block will always execute. If this if this is not execute, means this block of code, this protected code is not execute, it will go to the another exception, then it will go to the another exception, but finally will always executes, remember that. So here I just clean this code, and now I just use this integer a, and then which is equal to new and int 2. Okay, now I just use try. So try here is system.out.print and print line and access. This is system and dot out dot print and then access element 3. Okay, and then here I just write plus a and concatenate plus a 3. Okay, let's close this code, and here after this code I just catch this exception. So catch, and here I just write array size and array index out, and it's an array index and out of and bounds, which is exception. Okay, and the exception object is e. Now I just write system dot out dot print line, and the print line here is, and this is a print line exception thrown. Okay, and here I just concatenate plus e, and now I just go to the finally block. So it's a finally keyword, and here I just write a, which is 0, and then which is equal to 6, and then system dot out dot print line, and which is first element value. Okay, and here I just write plus a and 0, system dot out dot print line, and the finally statement is executed. Okay, so I just close the double quotation here. So here is an error which is a capital F, and this is bound. So this is bound. Now just check the output, and okay, so we have unhandled exception error. So here the finally, and here I forget to add my method, which is public static void main and string and arguments, and this is a string and arguments here, and then I just execute this code. Okay, and now yes, now just check. So you can see the exception thrown, which is java dot language dot array index out of bounds exception, which is the 3. Okay, and the first element of the value here is 6. You can see here the first element of the value, which is 6, and the final statement is executed. So you can see this is the final statement which is executed, and this is also the final statement, and this is the exception catch bound. Okay, so thanks for watching this lecture. See you in next lecture.